One of the most effective strategies that a man can use to turn his life around is to create a heightened sense of urgency within anything and everything that he does. A lot of guys right now are not satisfied with the direction that their life is going. They're not satisfied with their results, the way that they look, the money they're making, the relationships that they have. They're unfulfilled and they're looking for a change, but they don't know how to get there. And right now they're just going day by day, without purpose, without clear goals, without a mission, hoping for things to get better. Well, look, I've said it before, hope is not a strategy for success. You know, sometimes we need to put ourselves in intentionally difficult circumstances to then put ourselves in a position to grow. For those of you that are familiar with the story of the burning of the boats, you'll know what I'm talking about here. Sometimes you have to arrive at the shore with your boats and burn them so that you cannot go back, so that fleeing and retreating is not an option. And you have to face those demons. You have to do the things that you know are difficult, yes, but need to be done. And the way you can do this is by creating a sense of urgency. You know, look at it this way. I want you to imagine the man that you want to be. And I literally want you to go in your head and go into the details. Imagine the man that you want to be. How much money does he earn? What type of house does he live in? Does he have kids? If so, how many? Does he have a wife? Is she beautiful? Go through the details. Imagine every single dream scenario of the man that you want to become. And now I want you to ask yourself, what do you think it is going to take to make that your reality? Now you're probably thinking, well, quite a lot of work, and you would be right. It's going to take quite a lot of work. Now I'll ask you, if you keep doing what you're doing right now for the rest of your life, or let's say for another 10 years, is that reality going to become closer to happening or further away? And look, if you're being honest with yourself, the answer is going to be further away, because you know that you're not on the right course right now. And that might be in your mind a bad thing. But in actuality, it's a good thing, because you can see things for what they are. Something has to change. Now look, you can imagine the man that you want to be and the life that you want to have, and use that as a form of motivation. Something to aspire to achieve. But now you've got to get practical. Now you've got to get hands-on. And you've got to think, right, well, in order to make that reality, things have got to change, like I said. So in anything and everything that you do, you need to give everything you have. You know, at the job that you don't really love that much but pays the bills, you need to turn up. You need to work hard. You need to put in a shift and do a good job. Leave the place better than you found it. When you then come home, you need to make sure that you're leaving no stone unturned. And if there is extra work to be done on your personal projects, that you get it done. You need to make sure that you are taking care of your health and getting to the gym. You know, a minimum of really 4 times a week. Make sure you're turning up, because that training, that tough physical exertion, will build a stronger, more calloused mind and a healthier body. And those two things combined allow you to then be a more capable man in the real world. You've got to be urgent with this stuff. You can't be waiting and procrastinating and drifting like a lot of guys are. You need to move intentionally. You know, if there's something that you're doing within your day-to-day life right now, and I say right now as in generally, but if there's something that you're doing generally and you're not sure why, and you're unsure whether it's serving you or not, now is the time to kick that to the curb, because you don't have time to waste. Now, I'm not going to be one of those guys who's going to tell you, you know, you've got a really small window. It depends on your age, honestly, you know, and I'm always an optimist. I always believe that, you know, unless you really are about to meet your maker, that there's time to turn things around. But look, it is a fact that we have a body clock. So there are certain things that become way harder with age. You know, harder to have kids when you're over the age of, you know, 45. Obviously people do, but it's harder. You know, it's harder to be a dad with that same energy over the age of 50. So there are certain things in life that, you know, are time constrained. So in some senses, yes, you do have to hurry things up. Yes, you do have to be urgent and move more intentionally. However, on the flip side, as I've said, I do believe that as long as you are still breathing and walking and moving around, you can turn things around. There are guys in their 60s and 70s who discovered new hobbies and new activities that reshaped their overall perception of their life, from negative to positive. So never give up. As long as you're still moving, you know, you can turn things around. However, this dream life that you want, this ideal life, this man that you want to become, I presume, you know, especially if you're a younger guy watching this video, this isn't something that you want to be too far away. You know, it's not something 30 years away or 40 years away. It's probably something 10 or 20 years away. So that means that, yes, you have time, but you need to move intentionally. You need to be moving with a sense of urgency. So you've really got to ask yourself every single day, and I'm not talking from a position of somebody who's mastered this. I'm working on this. I've done a very good job up to where I'm at. But, you know, as a human being, as a fellow human being, I slip up the same way you guys do. But you've really got to get to a stage where you're moving intentionally within everything and anything that you do. You know, ask yourself, is what I'm doing serving me and my ultimate goal? And if not, let's wipe it off. You know, there's not time to dedicate to things that are not serving you, to things that do not help you reach your ultimate goal. Because that is just wasted time. That is time not being spent wisely. That is time that is being spent in quite frankly ways which do not serve you and sometimes put you going in the opposite direction. If you want this life so much, if you want this life as much as you say you do, you have a responsibility to keep yourself in check and burn your own boats. Force yourself to be accountable. One of the hardest truths, but one of the most freeing truths as a man is that no one is coming to save you. Now that might be sad for some people. You know, maybe they feel, you know, like they have so much responsibility and so much weight on their shoulders, you know, and it's sad that no one's coming to help them. I get it. But that's looking at things from a child's mentality. It's also freeing, knowing that you are your own man and you control your own destiny. And you don't depend on anyone to come and save you. You don't depend on anyone to come and change your life. Now look, you're going to have friends and you're going to have family that support you in life. And if they offer you help, accept it. And one day, return the favor and give that help back to them when they are in times of need. This isn't a video to tell you to do damage to yourself by being overly proud when life presents tough times. You know, friends and family are there for a reason. Okay? And just the same way you are going to want to help your friends at some point if they're down, you know, let them help you. Or let your family help you. But what I mean more generally is this idea that, you know, you are expecting help. Accept help, don't expect it. You've got to have it in your head that the only person that can change your life is you. And the reason for that is because if you don't, it's very difficult to make change. It really is, because you're always expecting a savior. You're always expecting a handout. You're always expecting somebody else to move what they've got going on for your benefit. And it's hard to be urgent. It's hard to act urgently when that's in the back of your head. So you've really got to burn your boats. You really do. You got to burn your boats, and you got to force yourself to be accountable. And you got to be harsh with yourself. If you're doing something that is not serving you, get it gone. There's no time to waste. You know, you want to be the man that you talk about in 20 years' time? Well, there's a list of things that he's got to get done. And he's got to complete that list every single day for a long time. Now look, there's another guy who wants the same thing as you. He wants the same life, maybe the same wife. And, you know, right now there's a possibility that he wants it a little bit more than you. Now that should make you sick to your stomach. That should make you angry. You know, he has the same conditions that you have. He's just more driven. Why is that so? You know, these are questions you've got to be asking yourself. Do you want it as much as you say you want it? And that's not just the wife, that's the life. That's the fulfillment, that's the happiness, that's the security, that's the stability. No man should want that more than you do. So you've got to ask yourself, how bad do you want it? And if the answer is you want it really badly, then you've got to start proving that with your actions. And that starts now. Not after another dopamigenic YouTube video, not after another self-improvement watch, because it gets to the point, guys, where you end up just binging content. Yes, you're watching personal development content, you know, you're not watching SpongeBob SquarePants, but you're watching video after video after video, getting the dopamine receptors popping off. But, you know, when it's all said and done, what's actually been achieved? So you've got to start now. And you've got to get rid of some behaviors that are not serving you. And you've got to start implementing things into your daily life that bring you closer to your goal. And you have to be urgent. So no more waiting, no more procrastinating, no more letting yourself down. You have time. And you have direction. It's now up to you to use that time wisely and travel fast. Anyway, guys, if you took some value from this video today, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to my channel for much more from me, comment your thoughts down below, and look, check out the description, check out the links down below. I've got a Discord community that I'm running right now with over 65 guys in there making great progress both personally and professionally. So if you're a guy who's wanting to make some changes, wanting to make some improvements, maybe drive into the world of entrepreneurship, there's a lot of like-minded guys in there right now. Simply join the community and connect with them. And look, if you want to work with me on a one-to-one basis, I do offer my coaching services. There's a link down below in the description for that. Click on the link, book yourself your free 30-minute call with me where we can introduce ourselves to each other and I can establish whether I can help you or not. and then we can go from there. But anyway, guys, if you took some value, once again, subscribe to the channel. Thanks, as always, for your time and attention, and I'll see you in the next one.